How would you like to have your own copy of POMS and MSOM and never have to file another transmittal? Did you ever wish you could do your notices right at your desk? What if you could request a SID or an MBR without having to exit a DIB claim? Suppose you could just copy a beneficiary's name and address from the MBR right into your notice without having to type it over and over again. How would you like to have a claim, an interactive comp, and a query on your screen all at the same time? Wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to leave a claimant sitting at your desk every time you got up to double-check a procedure? Did you ever think, isn't there a better way to do this job? Well, there is. It's called the IWS LAN, and it's coming to a desk near you. Hi, I'm Ty Ford on behalf of the Office of Training. And if you're watching this program, chances are you're just weeks away from having this equipment installed in your office. And I'm sure that you have more than a few questions, like, what is IWS LAN? Well, IWS stands for Intelligent Workstation. But what is it about having this PC hooked up to a LAN or a local area network that makes it so much better than our old familiar tap terminals? You probably want to know, how does this stuff work? How are you going to learn how to use it? I bet some of you are even afraid of mice. And if you're really concerned about how the IWS LAN is going to affect the way you do your job, I'll guarantee you're not alone.
I don't know anything about computers. Will I be able to learn it? It's difficult for me to even use the PC in our office. I erase things, I lose things. Will I be able to learn this new environment, this whole new system, and be able to work and do my job at the same time?
Well, I mean, my immediate concern is this is something I grew up with the tap. I mean, since its inception about 10 years ago. And I consider this very user-friendly for the most part. With the enhancements they've added and things like that, my concern is IWS LAN going to make this as user-friendly? Is it going to be as user-friendly as this thing has been?
I don't consider myself computer literate, so I'm not sure what I could do to it. And they haven't, by me not knowing about the new one, I'm a little apprehensive about what I would do to it if I could break it, or if I could destroy it or delete a lot of stuff out of it. So that would be a worry I would have until someone really trains me on it.
If I were to come in the morning and turn the system on and it's not operating, what steps do I take to get the system brought up?
As with all new equipment and as with all employees just learning it freshly new too, things are going to happen. The systems are going to go down, things won't work, we won't understand why it's not working, what we can do about it. And I'm just hoping that there's someone that if we have to pick up a phone and we pick up the phone and we call someone, we're going to get an immediate answer.
I've heard that it does use a mouse, which I'm not familiar with. I'm just used to using the keyboard, and at one time I did try to use the mouse, and I was like a fish out of water. I just couldn't get my eyes on the screen and work my hand at the same time. I wanted to look down at my hand to see where it was going.
I mean, the biggest transition is going to be, I think, for me, the keyboard, because I'm very used to this keyboard. I have very limited typing skills. Basically, I hunt and peck, but I'm familiar enough with that keyboard to get myself around it.
To make the system work for me, I'm hoping that we can get the proper training. I know that on the current system right now, I've been with the agency for 4 years and I'm still learning things on the system. I'm hoping that we're given the proper training so that whenever we do start using it, I'll have the confidence that I will be able to use it and be a more efficient claims representative.
Will it take a lot of time for me to learn and utilize LAN? If so, how's it going to affect the people that we have to help here? If it's going to take me 20 minutes instead of something that normally took me 10, then I'm already at a deficit in time, and we have a lot to do.
I think, am I going to be able to do this? I am not one of these young kids who have been brought up with a computer. And at my age, learning a new job is overwhelming at times. But to learn the computer aspects with it along with learning the job, I'm scared and I am a little apprehensive.
I'd really like to know when LAN is going to come to this office. I mean, I'm tired of people saying LAN, 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 and we never see anything. It would be nice to know a definite date or an approximate one, not a window of maybe 5 or 6 years.
Well, it's like I said, if you're watching this program, IWS LAN is well on its way to your office. And more than likely, you've already had some preparation for its arrival. By now, your new furniture's probably been delivered and set up. And contractors have been running miles and miles of cable through your office. And depending on just what kind of job you do, your workstation looks a whole lot like the one I'm at right now. Basically, if your office is this far along in setting up for the LAN, you've already been through the worst of it. Some of you may have experienced a world of inconvenience and had to move your entire operation to a temporary site. At the very least, you packed up all your stuff, moved it out of the way, and unpacked it all over again. So now, for all your efforts, you have this highly functional modern furniture, and parts of it actually go up and down at the push of a button. But obviously, you haven't been put through all this disruption just to get new furniture. All of the work, all of the wiring, and all of the redecorating has been done to one end, to pave the way for the IWS LAN. Now, for the good news. You won't have to be there when the hardware is being installed. In fact, you'll probably go home on a Friday, and by the time you're back to work on Monday morning, the whole system should be up and running. So, now you're back at work and you find this sitting on your desk. A device that combines the functions of your old tap terminal with the power of a personal computer. So, how are you going to learn how to use it? Each office will have a site training coordinator. Among other things, the site training coordinator will set up a schedule that gives you time to work with professional trainers. These trainers will be brought into your office to teach you the basics on the PC. You'll work with them in small groups as you learn your way around the computer and the new software. There'll even be practice time at the end of each session, so you can get comfortable with the things you've just learned. Learning about computers and learning about software can be an intimidating prospect for anyone. Since the agency has begun this transition to LAN, quite a few of your fellow employees have already been through this experience. And you know what? They seem to have survived.
It was scary at first. I was real apprehensive because I'm probably the most computer illiterate person that there is. But no, it really wasn't. We had a week of pretty intensive training, and the trainers were great, and they really helped us. You know, they answered all our questions and worked with us, and it really wasn't difficult at all. It's pretty user-friendly.
We received training. What they did was they divided the office into groups of 4 to 5 people, and each group had different time schedules, and we learned each program. We learned how to use the PC. We learned how to use the mouse, how to move the mouse around. We had plenty of time to practice. No one was just dumped into working with the computer, the new PC at their desk. Everyone had plenty of time in the training area.
If I was talking to someone that's changing over, I would tell them to be very open-minded. Use all the practice time they can before they get back to their job, and use all of those facilities. Don't not use it because you don't need it right now. Go in and play around with it anyway, so as when the time comes for you to use it, you'll feel good about it. You'll go in and do it.
I think that with the training that they have and the support that they have, it really is within the realm of anyone being able to use all of this equipment, because it's not throwing you to the wolves or anything like that. It really is a good way that they've set it up so that people can use it as a good tool to help them with all of their work here.
You don't have to be a computer wizard to actually work on the IWS LAN, because I know nothing about computers. I still know nothing about computers, but I'm able to get through this based on the good instructors that we had and using my mouse. And other people in the office that are computer experts, they help us also getting through this. And it's very easy. I love it. I love using it. One day I'm going to learn everything about the computer, but right now I'm still new at it, but I'm able to get through it and process my work with no problem.
Good instruction and lots of practice time are key to getting familiar with the IWS LAN and working with PCs in general. But the whole idea of having on-site training is to make sure you actually feel at home with this new technology in the place where you'll be using it, on the job. Along with the basic training, those of you with special needs and assistive devices will get specific instruction designed to ease your transition to LAN. Okay. Suppose you've already been trained. You know all the right buttons to push. You know where to find your files, and you're relatively certain that you're not going to accidentally delete everything. But what happens when things do go wrong? Who keeps the system running? And who are you going to call if you do get in a jam?
I'm the site LAN coordinator. It's my duties to keep the system running on a day-to-day basis. If something goes wrong with the system, the person in the office will come to me directly. And most issues or problems I can handle on my own. If there are any further problems that I am not capable of handling, I can call the node at Philadelphia and get help directly from them by phone. The process is usually very efficient and very reliable. We have not been down for any extended periods of time.
In addition to keeping your office's system up and running, it's the site LAN coordinator, the SLIC, who makes sure that the POMs and MSOM on CD-ROM are always up to date and online to your computer. That means you'll always have access to the latest references, and filing transmittals will be a thing of the past. For most of you, the single most important thing the SLIC does is to manage the hardware that runs the software that holds the files that hold your work. In other words, your work's backed up. You've got a safety net.
The fact that we have the file server enables us to let the employee know what they have stored in their individual PCs for their own use and for helping them to perform their jobs is going to be here. It's going to be on this space on the file server without fear of it being lost.
The bottom line is you can afford to make some mistakes. You'll get training. You've got backup built right into the system. And somebody on your staff is going to be there to help you when you need it. But what about the day-to-day stuff? What's it going to be like when you actually have to use it? What's it going to be like to do your job with the LAN?
It is not as terrible as they think it's going to be. You have all these fears. You get on the computer the first day. After the first day, you become a lot more comfortable. And after a week, it's like the job you were doing before. It does not feel that different as far as approaching it. It has a lot bigger potential, and it's a greater tool. It makes you more versatile.
When I first came to this unit, I had no PC experience at all, and I was apprehensive about it. But if you can point a mouse and click it, you can take care of everything you need to take care of without knowing commands and things that people have heard about with DOS systems and things of that nature. You don't have to know a bunch of computer commands. All you have to know how to do is move that mouse around and click on it.
I reported to this office in May from a non-LAN office, and I was scared that I would not, and had a lot of apprehension about not being able to be as proficient as the rest of my staff. The first thing I did want to learn was how to use electronic mail in order to communicate with the employees, because I felt that that was something that was new and exciting for me, to be able to just send things off over electronic mail. The SLIC came in, showed me a few things, and I was able to send out a first set of staff meeting notes to the entire staff, which made me feel proficient at last. And from there, it was just a logical progression on how quickly things fell into place and how logical and sequence LAN is, that it's very easy to use.
If I could tell you one thing that's good about the LAN, I would say the ease of the use, the fact that we have available to us so much that you can go from one screen to the other, and you can have 3 or 4 different things up at the same time, so that you can go from MCS into POMS, into a calculator, into an MBR, into a computation, and have it all available on the screen at the same time.
Well, if you're pulling up MBR or SID or any of our records, you just continue typing. On the tap terminal, you kind of like had to push reset, and wait a while for it to show up. You just actually type your numbers. You can type about 20 numbers at one time, and you look up and your screen's there.
I like having everything at my desk, basically because everything's at your fingertips. You get a telephone call, you can create the individual's account, and you know basically what they're calling about. If I need to do a notice, I can do a notice right then and there. I don't have to wait to go to use a standalone PC. Or if someone just wants a benefit letter, I can type in a benefit letter while I'm talking to them on the phone, go to my printer, and mail it off to them at the same time.
Well, they like to watch the computer a lot as we go through our machinations, but I think they like it because you're not getting up and leaving a desk and leaving a claimant sitting there for half an hour while you're looking off somewhere else looking something up in POMS. You're right there, you're with them, there's not a feeling that they're being deserted or being left alone. You're right there, you're talking to them, you're reassuring them while you're doing other things and answering their questions and helping them out.
By now, I hope you've got a better idea about what it's going to be like to live with LAN. Most of the things that you already do won't change at all. The programs basically stay the same. What changes is, instead of running from your tap to the CD-ROM to the PC, you've got all these things in one package. And it all works together in a way to put it all at your fingertips when you need it. So, think about some of the things you've been hearing. It's user-friendly. You're not going to break it. You don't have to know all about computers. You're going to get training. And you're going to get plenty of time to practice before you actually have to use it on the job. You can pull everything up on one screen, so you'll do a lot less running around. And you won't have to leave a client hanging while you look something up. There is just one thing. You're not afraid of a little mouse, are you?
When I came into Social Security, the first machine I used was a Remington typewriter, and it was not electric, it was the old manual. And then I went to an electric typewriter, was still Remington. Then I went to Key Punch and worked on the old Key Punch board. Then we went to the Paradigm, which was just a standalone, and you had to get online and wait to get a query for your client, to the tap terminal.
The transition from the old tap terminals to IWS LAN for me was to not automatically reach for references in books and query readers and so forth. Everything was right here on the system. I had to force myself at first to use this system, and after a couple of weeks, I wasn't even thinking about it anymore.
The transition between the old way and the new LAN was a little scary because I had never really worked with a PC before, but I found, now I'm almost at retirement age, but I found the PC very easy to learn, and in fact I liked it so much I went and got one for myself at home.
If someone came in here and said that they were going to take this system out of here, I don't know what I would do, because I might have to hurt them because I love it. Don't take the system away. It's the best thing that could ever happen to us.